Where do they think it's coming from? Just
to
the
cover the whole west coast of the Keys and up the state. And then you got red tide on the other side, they're showing all the dead fish. Pretty cool. It's a different world.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you enjoyed it, that's what counts, right?
It was nice when we were there.
4 degrees this morning when I did my thing.
Oh,
It was 6 by me.
4 degrees is what I had.
that was pretty chilly for middle of March.
I handled it very well, so I handled it.
Yeah,
Keep moving.
you need to hop on right away because
There's,
Snooze, you lose.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I look at people who can't walk, it's their own fault.
okay, 10:30. That clock ain't right.
It is 10:30.
The one, that one is 10:30.
Well, the computer says.
And I did that one this morning, so it might be off.
Okay. Are we ready to go?
we are ready. Yep.
Okay,
Here we go, that's your pen back.
Yeah, we're live. We're good to go.
call this meeting of the Wapaka County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. This meeting and all other meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin statutes so that the citizenry may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. This meeting will be broadcast for remote access on a live stream on YouTube at the address published. This meeting may inadvertently cause a quorum of other county committees or the County Board of Supervisors. No business decisions of any other committees or the Board of Supervisors will be conducted at this meeting. Roll call shows all members are here. Have you had a chance to look at the agenda?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Moved by Supervisor Fedorowicz, seconded by Supervisor Wilfer to approve the agenda as published. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we have the minutes from March 7th.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Well, second.
Moved by Supervisor Wilfer, seconded by Supervisor McClone to approve the minutes from March 7th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. At this point, we open the floor for public comment. If you're on the agenda, you will have your chance to speak. This is just a public comment period time. No action will be taken on anything at this time. Any public comment? Any public comment? Third call, any public comment? Any supervisor reports? Guess not. Okay. On to the first hearing.
Purpose of this hearing is to take testimony regarding the application for Stephen Moss, located in the southeast quarter of section 28. Mona Matson, lying along Hen Road, fire number N 10155, Wapaka County, Wisconsin, parcel number 14-28-44-7 for a conditional use permit. Minor indoor institutional in the agriculture and woodland transition AWT district on approximately 24.99 acres. Will Secretary please read the names of the persons notified of this hearing? Oh,
Wait.
I should back up.
Yeah.
I should back up with the first page here, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm gonna start over here and then I'll quit when I get down to the first hearing. I got 2 pages to read here. The Planning and Zoning Committee meeting and public hearings to be considered today, Tuesday, March 14, 2023, are open to the public. Anyone present may speak, providing they stand up and identify themselves and have filled out a notice of public appearance sheet, which are located in the box by the entrance door. Anyone attending by phone or Zoom meeting may speak, provided they identify themselves by name and address before doing so. We are recording these proceedings, so it is important that you state your name and address before addressing the committee. We request that you do not interfere with or interject comments while another person has the floor. The chair will permit adequate time for anyone wishing to speak and may compel the attendance of witnesses. The following hearings have been published as Class 2 notices in accordance with Chapter 985 Wisconsin statutes and would be heard by this committee. The first one was Stephen Moss. The second will be Kent Hoopman LLC. Third is Petru Mirzan and Andrea Zeta. And the fourth one is Warren C. Worth. The committee, the county zoning committee is a delegate unit of the county board by ordinance to consider zoning ordinance amendments and decide conditional uses. The zoning committee is interested in hearing all pertinent evidence. Witnesses in favor of the application would be called first, those opposed second, and then others. After each witness has appeared, he or she may be questioned by the committee. Persons present who are not appearing as witnesses will be allowed to propose relevant questions to be put to the committee. However, the chair reserves the right to rule on the relevancy, and no member of the audience will be allowed to give testimony without being sworn. Because a record of this hearing is being recorded, it is imperative that each witness or speaker identify themselves and their interest in the subject matter of this hearing before speaking. Please speak in the direction of the recorder on the presentation table. A time limit on the presentations may be imposed. I do request that you avoid repetition and limit your remarks to the subject matter being considered. Neither the committee nor your neighbors will benefit from hearing statements that repeat opinions which have already been expressed or that relate to matters other than the case before the committee. Personal attacks or abusive testimony and gross hearsay, rumor or gossip will be ruled out of order by the chair, subject to immediate appeal to the majority of the committee. Now, I have started reading the first public hearing. And I'll continue on. Will the secretary now please read the names of the persons notified of this first public hearing?
Dwayne Federitz, Town Chair, Patty Shambo Hill, Town Clerks, Dan Banky, Town Supervisor, Greg Hansen, Town Supervisor, Steve Moss, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Kyle Zabun, Department of Natural Resources, Dale Rezabeck, Wapaka County Public Health, Jed Wolf, Wapaka County Corporation Council, John R. and Gertrude L. Anderson, Connie J. and Donald L. Guyette, Lawrence H. Benny, Stephen Moss, Christine L. Nielsen Revocable Trust, Suzanne M. and Roger A. Rindle, Gerald K. Senior and Kathleen S. Rowan, and James A. and Joanne K. Shute.
I hereby direct a copy of this affidavit to be filed as part of the record of these proceedings. The committee has conducted an on-site inspection of this property. The committee will now hear the application for Stephen Moss. Will the applicant or their agent please come forward and be sworn in to testify?
And I believe we have Mr. Moss on Zoom with us today.
Okay, if they are present by telephone or Zoom meeting, please identify yourself to be sworn in.
My name is Steve Moss, the owner of Traditional Korean Martial Arts Academy.
Good morning, Steve. I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
You swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So state your name and address and tell us what the application is about.
Steve Moss at North 10155 Hen Road, Splittville, Wisconsin. And I'm applying for a permit to have a martial arts school in my shop, which is 100 feet from my house. And we've already started conducting a couple classes. And, I told them we need to get approval, but I wanted to test the waters here, and it's actually going really well. I could show you guys some pictures if you want of the inside the facility.
Interesting. So how many days a week do you have this classes?
It's whenever the schedules are from people, I offer. There's not going to be a lot of people because it's fall time, but you try to do a couple days a week, two, maybe 4 for 1 hour classes. And usually it's at the end of the day, like about 4:30 or something like that, after people get out of work. They bring their kids. So, everybody has schedules, sports and all that. So it's, it's never going to be in the middle of the night. We had, I don't know how you get out of. Looks like you can't get out of, you can't minimize this screen. Or I can get on something there, but, so. There's probably never gonna be more than 2 or 3 at the most vehicles. You know, a family of 4, a couple families of 4, that kind of thing.
So it's somewhat one-on-one or small groups.
It's small group or it could be one-on-one. If somebody can't make a schedule with the rest of us, I will offer to do one-on-one with them, but I think people usually try to schedule it in a group because it's more, in martial arts, it's more productive and more fun. Some of the things we do is the whole bed and somebody else kicks it and things like that. So we try to do it, it'll be, small groups is the ideal thing. In the case that somebody just can't make it, I'll spend an hour with them, with a couple of their kids alone.
Okay. Is everybody having an okay time hearing?
It's hard, it is a little hard to hear.
I don't know, because
Okay. It's, I could catch most of it, I think. It was kind of garbled.
I got a hard time hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it breaking up?
That better, is that?
No, it's not breaking up. It's just, a muffled, little bit, hard to understand.
Okay,
So-
it's, might be the internet here isn't that great.
Okay, well, I think we got the gist of it.
I can just comment a little bit since I'm the chair up there in our township and Steve's out there in Colorado, so. Basically, we did even hold a comprehensive planning committee meeting on it. Just simply to give the public the right, we had the neighbors showed up and their only concern was as far as if there'd be any noise or stuff like that, and there won't be any noise, so we had no trouble with it. Steve has been in contact with us. I think, Steve, you started back in what, November, December sometime?
Yeah, I think it was December. Well, actually, no, I think it was, might have been about October of the original contact, then November. I had typical state, I had a $10,000 grant approved. And all of a sudden they laid the licenses and the zoning on me at the last second. And they gave me like 6 days to get it done, which is obviously impossible. So I lost $10,000. If the state would have told me about this earlier, I would have had time to get this license.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just typical bureaucracy, but I'll survive.
Thank you. Is there any other questions from the committee right now? Just stick around for a little while. I've got a call for more testimony and maybe some other questions will come up. So please hang on for a little bit here. Okay.
Okay, and I'll be glad to explain a little bit more about what the school's all about, what martial arts in general is all about. It's really a positive for the community. I think once I lay that out, I think you'll agree.
Oh, yeah, I don't know that anybody questions that. I think we think that's all of a benefit to have myself. In my opinion, I think it's good. So,
One question
Okay,
I have
I'll be here.
okay. Thank you. We got a question here.
is it's highlighted that is it considered one space and it's expected, patron 3 is maximum capacity? What does that mean?
So for parking,
Oh.
so the max capacity, so divided by 3, that's how many parking spaces.
Okay, right.
Something like this, we wouldn't typically be too worried
Right,
about
that's
that.
what
because
I
there's
was wondering, that's just not very much.
Can I
Right.
comment on that?
Mhm.
There's a lot, I got 25 acres.
Yeah.
5 of it is groomed like a golf course, there's a lot of space for parking. I just don't see the size of my facility is, I can only have so many here at one time where it's comfortable to do a class. You need a lot of room in martial arts, moving around. You can't, have tons of people in one area at one time. So because of that, there probably won't be more than 2 or 3 cars.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Is there any further testimony in favor of this application? Any further testimony in favor of this application? Any further testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition, third call, any testimony?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have the town recommendation for Steve Moss, parcel number 14284447 on approximately 25 acres, current zoning district of agriculture and land transition. Is the proposal consistent with the town vision statement as found in the town comprehensive plan, indicated as yes? Is the proposal consistent with the town goals, objectives, and development strategies as found in the town comprehensive plan, also indicated as yes? Town Plan Commission recommends approval, signed by Dwayne Federowitz, dated on January 19th, 2023. Town Board also recommends approval, signed by Dwayne Federowitz and Patty Hill, both dated January 23rd of 2023. I also have an email from Jim and Joanne Shute to Jason Snyder in our office. It says, "Good morning, Mr. Snyder. Please reference the above hearing in regards to the conditional use permit for Stephen Moss. We are unable to attend the meeting, but ask the following concerns be considered. Number one, is there proper infrastructure available for the facility, i.e. bathrooms, parking, etc.? Number two, parking will not be allowed on the road. Number three, is this seasonal? Number four, what are the days and hours of operation? What time will the sessions end, i.e. 5-6 p.m.? And number five, what is the longevity of the conditional use permit? Thank you in advance for hearing us. Sincerely, Jim and Joanne Shute."
Thank you. Does the Planning and Zoning Office have a recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are in favor of it being granted as well, with the conditions that they obtain a building permit for the conversion of the structure and also comply with any requirements the Department of Health and Human Services may have for them.
Well, that would address the questions in the letter that was sent too.
Yep.
Okay,
Did you hear that, Steve?
Part of it.
you got, the Planning and Zoning Office is recommending approval of this, and we've called for testimony, and we've completed that part. Now we're gonna take a vote.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Yeah, so Steve, just so you can hear the conditions that we're applying or asking to be applied are that you obtain a building permit for the conversion of the structure and that you comply with any of the requirements that the Department of Health and Human Services may have for it.
Well, there is no conversion of the structure.
So right now it's a residential accessory structure and you're utilizing it for a commercial use. So you would have to work with the building inspector to make sure that it meets building code for that. Regardless of whether we have applied as a condition or not.
Okay, well, that's something I don't know how to do. And if it's a lot of money,
We can get you in contact with the building inspector and figure out what you need to do for that then.
Shouldn't be.
I wouldn't think, but
That'd be up to the building inspector, but yeah,
Yeah, the building inspector is right here in our.
Yep.
In our building here, so he'll just come out there and give you an idea.
well.
What does it cost him to have the building inspector come out there?
nothing for him to come out there. But
Good.
if there's a permit required, then there would be a fee.
But
that's
then you
associated.
find out that at the time.
Yep,
So we'd have no expense until the cards are laid on the
that's
table.
correct. Yep, absolutely.
Did you hear that, Steve?
Yeah, he would come out,
There's no fee for the building inspector to come out.
well, would he contact my cell phone then or something?
We can have him get in contact with you. Absolutely. No problem at all.
Cell phone is better than email.
Okay.
Okay. So you were you able to hear all that? We're
Yes.
reasonably okay to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are no other questions from the committee. We'd be in order to have a motion.
I'll make some motion to approve it under the conditions discussed by Jason.
Thank you, sir. Moved by Supervisor McClone, seconded by Supervisor Wilford to approve this conditional use permit with the conditions. Roll call vote, Wilford,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
McClone,
Yes.
Fedorowicz,
Yes,
Nygaard, yes, motion carries. Is there a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Moved by Supervisor Hardy, seconded by Supervisor Wilford to close this hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Steve. Staff here will,
Yep, we'll be in contact. and let you
contact.
know.
they'll get a hold of you.
Okay, so, he or she will contact me and we'll set up,
Correct. Yep.
okay? And then what, are you gonna eventually like email me or mail me a certificate I can hang up in the facility? once it's
Yeah.
all done?
That's an excellent question. We will mail out to you a decision from today. That one of, two of them, one of which you'll have to sign and return back to our office, and the other one you keep for your records.
Okay, I'm heading back to Colorado, tomorrow. All right, I've spent a little bit more time in Wisconsin. But I have to go back there. I have a brewer, as you probably know. So I gotta brew a batch of beer.
Would you like us to email it to you? Is that quicker or easier for you?
Yeah, if I can sign it that way, can I sign it on email?
You can sign it, scan it back in and email it back to us. That'll suffice.
yeah, That would be amazing.
As easy as we can make it for you, okay? All
Okay, thank you, sir.
right, thank you.
That's a good way to do it. A lot of times, our mail service has not been the same as what it was even a year ago.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, the one thing I was gonna say is that if, you know, all this goes through and all this stuff, I wish I could send you guys a picture. Look on Facebook and I posted it. We had like a grand opening, you know, with the contingency fitness license. Beautiful families in Clintonville. I'm already making a difference in these kids' lives. A good family time. We're gonna be involved with Chamber of Commerce and, you know, in parades. And, you know, when there's a festival, you know, we'll do demonstrations, the kids will break and boards and all that kind of stuff. If there's any kind of advertisement, that you guys are connected with, or, you know, some sort of Chamber of Commerce in different cities that you connect me with, I'm gonna spend some money and run some advertising once this is really rolling. So it's really, I mean, it's just, you know, people have a real appetite here for it. And it's kind of sort of surprised me. And this is connected to a really super good worldwide Taekwondo Federation that, you know, the main schools in southern Wisconsin, Boscoville, Wisconsin. Master Saint, he's had this going since 1993. So this is a real deal, like the best worldwide Korean martial arts federation that these people can be involved in. And it's in this little city. It's just great, honestly.
Thank you, Steve. We wish you well.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep. Are we on to the next hearing?
Okay. Continuing. With that, we'll call the second public hearing to order. The purpose of this hearing is to take testimony regarding the application for Camp Hoopman LLC located in southwest quarter of northwest quarter of section 19, town of Lynn, lying along County Road E, fire number N1115, Wapaca County, Wisconsin. Parcel number 12-19-23-2 and the southeast of the northeast of section 24, town of Dayton, lying along Gooseneck Lake and McLean Lake, Wapaca County, Wisconsin, parcel number 03-24-14-3 for review of approval of two conditional use permit applications. Resort establishment and campground camping resort. CP-01111, 2022, and also CP-012, 2022, in the rural commercial neighborhood district on approximately 11 acres Will the secretary please read the names of persons notified of this hearing?
John Miller, Town Chair for Dayton, Wanda Hilton, Town Clerk for Dayton, Jeff Barlow, Town Supervisor in Dayton, Jim Teglo, Town Supervisor for Dayton, Steve Gall, Town Chair for Lynn, Colleen McCoy, Town Clerk in Lynn, Cindy Hardy, Town Supervisor in Lynn, Andy Jensen, Town Supervisor for Lynn, Eric Koopman, Mitchell Rathsack, Desiree Rich, Ben Collins, Kristen Hoopman, Bessie Tater, Department of Natural Resources, Dale Rezabuck, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Kyle Funk, Waupaca County Highway Department, Casey Firestore, Waupaca County Public Health, Jed Wolf and Emily Merrill, Waupaca County Corporation Council, Camp Hoopman, LLC, Carol L. Clark, M. and Cheryl A. Germate Living Trust, Wayne G. and Susan H. Kleinman, and Nathan A. and Abigail L. Scott.
I hereby direct a copy of this affidavit to be filed as part of the record of these proceedings. The committee has not conducted an on-site inspection of the properties. As this is the review, Rebecca Fields from the Planning and Zoning Office will now present the staff report for Camp Elliotson.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So this was a conditional use approval back from last March. So this has been 1 year since the original approval. As of right now, they actually aren't in operation as of yet. They are hoping for an opening in July of this year. So there won't be a whole lot that we'll have issues with yet, just because they haven't been in operation. But we'll kind of go through each of the conditions and run through any of the concerns that we might have that have come up. So first one, having a representative on site. Like I said, they don't have any events or haven't as of yet, so that's not an issue. No fireworks. Outside music has to be shut down by 10. Outside lighting has to be down shrouded. They haven't installed any new lights as of yet, so that hasn't been an issue. And they're aware that if they do have to be down shrouded. All structures and RVs have to be set back from the ordinary high water mark at least 75 feet. There are 4 RVs currently on site. Those are going to be used in conjunction with the venue itself as far as having people stay in those. They're not in their final location yet, so once they get to the point of wanting to put that there, we'll most likely meet them on site just to verify the placement before they put them down. No additional structures and no more than the 10 RVs. For the first year, which like I said, they only have the 4 currently and they haven't built anything new. They've more or less just been modifying the existing structures that are out there. Which had kind of like the reception hall dining area. There were 6 rustic cabins that were there, which they've also put plumbing and stuff in now, so that they've got a bathroom facility. We're doing the 1 year review now. Town of Dayton is a dry township, and then Town of Lind, they had to obtain their liquor license through them to be able to serve the alcohol on site, which they've done. Obtaining any necessary licensures from DHHS. So they've got the one already for the retail food service. DHS is apparently working with them for a campground license and lodging as well. So even though they're not going to operate as like a campground would normally, but because they have the RVs and they've got the cabin facilities, they'll need to get those separate licenses from them, which they're working on. They have to obtain any necessary building permits and fire inspections. Building permits, I did find the one under the address because they've got multiple addresses out there, unfortunately. So we found that, but they've got, they're working with the temporary commercial building inspector out there. Now we've got a new one. So once we get everything squared away with them, I'll get confirmation that everything's been signed off and okayed. I got in contact with the fire chief for the city of Waupaca, so he's going to be in contact with them to do their final fire inspection as well, once they're ready to get up and running. Septic systems had to be evaluated, which everything was done. And then, like I said, they had to, when they added the facilities into the 6 cabins, they had to get a permit and have inspections done for that as well, which they did do. I did speak with both of the townships because it crosses Dayton and the town of Lind. Neither one of the chairmans had any kind of concerns or complaints as of right now, just mainly because there hasn't been anything occurring on the properties as of yet. Other than number 9 and number 10, which deals with DHHS, and then obviously the building and fire inspections. Those two will need to be completed, obviously, before we want to have any kind of full operation going on site there. My recommendation would be to do more of an administrative review, so that we can hopefully get everything signed off on before they want to do the opening. And not have to bring it back in front of committee unless. And maybe do another year review once we have an opening, so that we have a year under the belt of actual having operations. If there's any concerns at that point, we can address them at that time.
That sounds practical. Good. Yeah. Yeah. So really no action to take.
Yeah, I would say, like I said, if they're gonna open this summer, we'll do the administrative just to double check those couple conditions, and then if we want to set something up for either midsummer next year or fall even of next year, just so that we've got a full year of everything to do another review, then we can.
So I suppose we should go through the motions and approve as is. There's no reason not to.
Right, yeah, and we do have some of the representatives from the property here as well, so if you guys wanted to call them up for testimony, they can fill you in as well as far as what their process has been so far.
Okay, I'll do. Thank you, Becca. Any time, is there any further testimony in favor of this application? Any further testimony in favor of this application?
Yeah, I mean, we're in favor of it.
If you want to go on record, you don't have to give a long speech. It is just. Is there any further testimony in favor of this application?
Go ahead.
Say yes.
Yes, I.
Yeah. And are you here together?
Yes.
Come up together. I'll swear you both in at the same time and
All right, fine.
please raise your right hand and take your hat off. You swear the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a seat, state your names and address, and give us an update.
Okay, I'm Ben Collins. I'm at 1843 Damel Street, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I represent Camp Hoopman LLC.
I'm Laura Brackley. I live at 806 South Main Street here in Wapaka, and I'm also representing Camp Hoopman,
Okay,
Camp Ellsworth as it is.
so it's just taking a little longer than what you thought. Not that it matters in particular. It's just that we had this 12-month redo check over to follow up on. That's all.
I don't
So
think it's taken longer. I think, I mean, I wish it wouldn't take this long, but it's quite a process. I mean, it sat vacant for 4 or 5 years, so. I think we saw most issues. We did have some raccoons living in one of the buildings, so that's, out of all the things we need to get done, nobody wants to deal with raccoons, so. But no, I think we're making good headway, and we understand the stipulations that are in place, and we're working with everyone trying to get it done. So one thing I would like to note, we're not really a campground. I don't know. We're not gonna allow people to bring their campers in or their tents. That's not at all our business plan, so.
okay, so would that be a determination with DHS?
If possibly, and they can make that distinction with them when they're
Yeah.
doing the licensing and everything for that. But we permitted them as both a resort establishment and a campground. If memory serves, there was a couple of vintage trailers that were gonna be
Exactly.
utilized out there for it.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we covered all your bases, so there weren't any headaches down the road for it.
Right.
Can I ask you, when you, did everything seem agreeable that we were saying in our report on everything?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Any,
I agree.
great, absolutely.
So more like an Airbnb, is that what you're thinking?
Well, it's gonna be like a retreat. So let's say you wanna have a wedding, you would just rent the whole campground. And if you had guests that wanted to stay in an old camper, they would already be there, they're not gonna move.
Mhm.
So then you would stay in those campers. We only have 4 on site, so. There are some cabins which we've updated, and they can also rent those. So the way we see it, you would rent the whole place for a weekend, let's say, have all your relatives in. It could be a reunion or a wedding or I don't know, buddies, you know, so I guess that's the way we see it.
Just a curiosity question. You think it'd be open by July?
Yes, we are taking reservations already,
You
so,
are starting.
yes, yeah, so we're gonna be in trouble if we're not.
Just curious. just
No, no, absolutely, yep, that's our plans,
So July is what you're anticipating?
July 1st. So it'll be kind of a soft opening, we'll have probably some family members stay. We'll test out the facilities and make sure everything's working, but. Yeah. We get her done, so.
Yeah.
And if anyone's getting married, come see us, it's a beautiful place, so it's.
Hope you do some thorough screening, because I ended up with an Airbnb next to my cabin on White Lake, and it was a nightmare. The zoning went in there and cleaned it up and got rid of it.
What was it?
It was a place out on White Lake.
Okay,
My neighbor, when I moved out there, didn't have nothing going on. After a year we were there, she started doing an Airbnb, and she would bring in people from all over 2, 3, 6. You can't, I don't even want to tell you what I saw,
okay,
but I'm gonna tell you right out, zoning did take care of it, so make sure you really censor what you're using, because people think they can just drive in and have a ball,
sure.
but they're neighbors. I'm telling you. And zoning knows enough about what I said, right, Ryan?
Yep. Oh, yeah, yep. Certainly remember that issue.
And I'm also familiar with Airbnb, and that was a homeowner, the owner, it falls squarely on that person. Because there, you can set every stipulation you want on Airbnb, and that person apparently took a lot of things for granted or didn't care. So yeah, it's, you can make it so it's family friendly, so.
Following the laws of Wisconsin.
That's the plan.
Well, we had everything. We had everything happening out there on the weekends.
Oh.
Anybody could send $175 showed up. She took it all. And then she'd go off to Green Bay for the weekend.
Sorry.
You clean that up.
The lady right over there took care of it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions at this point from the community? Okay, thank you. If you want to stick around for a little while, I'll call for more testimony. Any further testimony in favor of this application? Any further testimony in favor of this application? Third call, any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Third call, any testimony in opposition? Any testimony? Are there any letters?
No.
Letters. Okay. Does the planning and zoning office have a recommendation?
I would say what Becky had read off there is what our recommendation is for that, and is it a review and
We'll do the administrative, yeah, before the
Sorry.
opening, and then, if we want to set, like I said, something either next summer or next fall after a year of operation. And then just have another review, and if everything is good, then we can close it out at that point in time, but it'd be good to have them have some time to be operational, so we can just address any other concerns that would come up.
So
Two townships.
we leave it up to you for the administrative review and set a committee, a review to come before the committee. 12 months from whence they open up.
Open up, yeah. that'd be good.
Okay. Does that sound acceptable to everybody? If so, then should have a motion to approve this review of this conditional conditional use.
I'll make a motion for the review.
Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Hardy, seconded by Supervisor Wilford to approve the conditional use the review of the conditional use permit. Roll call vote, Wilford.
yes?
Hardy.
Yes.
Yes. Fedowitz.
Yes.
Nygaard, yes, motion carries. Is there a motion to close the hearing?
Also move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Wilford, seconded by Supervisor Hardy to close the hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
With that, we'll call the third public hearing to order. The purpose of this hearing is to take testimony regarding the application for Petru Rasan and Adriana Zita, located in the southwest quarter of section 31, town of Lynn, lying along Twin Lake Road, fire number E2510, Opaka County, Wisconsin, parcel number 12-31-33-2, for a review of a conditional use permit temporarily occupancy of a recreational vehicle in excess of 30 days in the agriculture and woodland transition district on approximately 2 acres. Will the secretary please read the names of the persons notified of this hearing?
Steve Gall, Town Chair, Colleen McCoy, Town Clerk, Andy Jensen, Town Supervisor, Cindy Hardy, Town Supervisor, Petru Murazan, Owner, Department of Natural Resources, Dale Rezabeck, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Kyle Zabung, Opaka County Corporation Council, Scott F. Seward, Patrick M. and Janice M. Enright, MVG BVG LLC, Petru Murazan and Adriana Zatea, Scott F. and Dawn F. Seward, and K. M. Zelenka et al.
I hereby direct a copy of this affidavit to be filed as part of the record of these proceedings. The committee has not conducted an on-site inspection of this property as it is a review. Rebecca Fields from the Planning and Zoning Office will now present the staff report from Petru Murazan and Adriana Zita.
All right, so this was actually a second conditional use for a camper on the property. The town stipulated that they wanted it removed by March 1st of this year, and that has taken place. They pulled permits last December in 2022 for the new house construction, which when I drove by there on the 1st, they had the hole dug for the foundation already. So they were in process to get that going. Well, this one should be pretty easy. We can just close that out and with everything with the house building goes smoothly.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Some town of Lind. Okay.
Yeah, I had talked to Steve. I don't know if it was, it must have been after that because he hadn't driven by there in a while to realize that it had been removed. And I had told him that it was, so he was happy to hear that.
Sure.
This is one of those that dragged on for a while, so we're really happy to see it close out. So,
It's kind of scary.
yes.
Yeah. Is there anybody here today that wants to testify on this one at all, or?
I think so.
Well. There's nobody here. I'll just call. Is there any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in favor of this application? Third call, any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition? Any testimony? Okay, got that over with. Are there any letters? Okay, no letters either. What's the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Office?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to close her on out.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So we're open to have a motion to approve this conditional use permit and thank you, sir. Second. Moved by Supervisor Hardy, seconded by Supervisor Federwitz to close this conditional use permit and review. Roll call vote, Federwitz.
Yes.
McClellan.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes.
Wilford.
Yes.
Nygaard, yes, motion carries. Is there a motion to close this hearing?
Also move.
Thank you.
Hold on a second.
Moved by Supervisor Wilford, seconded by Supervisor McClellan to close the hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, with that, we will call this final or fourth public hearing to order. Purpose of this hearing is to take testimony regarding the application for Warren Seawood, located southeast of the northeast of section 34, town of Union, lying along Church Street. Fire number N7580, Packer County, Wisconsin, parcel 19-34-71-76, and the southeast of the northeast and the northeast of the northeast of section 34, Town of Union, lying along Church Street, fire number N7584, Wapaka County, Wisconsin, parcel number 19-34-71-77. For a review of approval of a conditional use permit application. Outdoor maintenance, fire shop, truck, trailer, tractor, and car restoration and sandblasting. Light industrial, machine shop, long-term outdoor display and sale car sales. CP 033 2021 in the rural commercial general district on approximately 4.5 acres. Will the secretary please read the names of the persons notified for this hearing?
Gary Shane, Town Chair, Sharon Olson, Town Clerk, Walter Stream, Town Supervisor, Marcy Wentworth, Town Supervisor, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Kyle Spum, Department of Natural Resources, Dale Rezabeck, Warren Worth, Geraldine Henschel, Wapaka County Corporation Council, Joyce V. and Shane M. Aaron's, Aberdahim Ben Hamady and S. Vidane, Ricky B. Chambers, Kathleen G. Donahue, Randa Greshaumer, Philip D. Heimbrook Revocable Trust, Franklin Howard, Derek Jenkins, Grant O'Brien, Sabra Ritchie, Schroth Survivors Trust trustees at all, Mark A. Schulke, Travis F. Schulke, St. Mark Evangelical Lutheran Church and Parsonage Simcoe, Daniel K. and Marcella S. Wentworth, Diane K. Worth, and Warren C. Worth.
I hereby direct a copy of this affidavit to be filed as part of the record of these proceedings. The committee has not conducted an on-site inspection of the properties, as this is a review. Rebecca Fields from the Planning and Zoning Office will now present the staff report for Warren C. Worth.
Okay, so back in December, we recommended that it goes back through the Town Plan Commission and the Town Board. After an agreement was made between the property owners with Schulke and Worth. So that was, because the main focus obviously was the privacy fence and the screening that was going to take place. The agreement that was made between the owners was an 8-foot tall privacy screening, so we've got the 10-foot fence already installed. We would have the screening go from the ground up, so we'd have 8 feet. It's going to be that similar black tarpy material that's pretty not see-through. And they did also want to talk about maintenance to make sure that if there was any issues or tears with that it would get maintained within a 1-month time frame, so that it wasn't in disrepair. They did talk about the location as well. So starting at Church Street along the Heimbrook property, which is the west lot line, going up around Schulke's for a certain distance to the back of where their shed and their lawn area kind of is in the backyard. The rest of it, because he did also have some fencing that would wrap around to the east side as well. They'd modified that screening as well in their stuff. And I do have their Plan Commission and their Town Board meeting minutes that I wanted to read. And we also do have something from Mr. Shane that I think would be pertinent, because their meeting, unfortunately, it was after I had to have my staff report done. So there were some adjustments in there that was made after that agreement was all done in with my staff report. So you want to bear with me here. So on March 6th, both the Town Board and the Plan Commission met. Discussion on the Warren Worth CUP in regards to the completion of fence and the privacy fence options agreed upon between Warren Worth and neighbor Schulke. The agreed upon privacy fence would be 8 foot high, and Schulke wants the fence repaired within 30 days of any breakage or disruption to the privacy screening. Warren says the cost of the 10-foot privacy fence was very high and he could not afford to install it. The neighbor has agreed to an 8-foot high fence that would extend back 340 feet from the west going east. Warren said he would install the same black privacy fence along the 170 feet that borders his property with the Heimbrooks. He would need 6 months to complete it. He also said he would install 4-foot retaining wall blocks topped with vinyl fencing along Church Street. We also discussed the tree planting on the east side and decided on 1 row of cedar trees 10 feet apart and 5 feet back from the fence. After discussion, the following was voted on. Along Schulke's 340 and Heimbrook's 170. which actually, by the time you throw in the road setback, it's actually only gonna be about 125 feet. Which I think if you scroll, there we go. Kind of where the red is where they're proposing that black tarped fencing. So along Schulke's 340 and the Heimbrook's 125 borders a black privacy screen, 8 foot tall, installed on the 10 foot tall chain link fence. On Church Street, the retaining wall base at 4 feet tall, 2 rows of 2 foot blocks, topped by the vinyl fence 4 feet tall.
Could you point out where that is on the map?
So Church Street would be in that southwest corner there.
Lower left.
Yep, right there. So that they're looking at 4 foot of block with then a 4 foot tall vinyl fence on top of that. On the east side, which, I mean, they've got 2 separate parcels there, so that would be the east side there. He's already got the 10 foot fence up there, but they're going to require that cedar trees planted 10 feet apart. Seedlings can be used. On the south side, which we've had the neighbor here a couple different times. She's the one that doesn't have any concerns with screening at all. So they don't have any requirements for privacy screen on the south side as of right now. Fences to be fixed within 1 month if it breaks. Privacy screen would be installed first and done within 6 months, and the rest of the fence, including the chain link around the entire property, privacy screen along Church Street, and tree planting to be completed within 1 year. And a motion by Strebe and second by Bauer, the motion passed. Then Warren Worth asked about amending his operating hours on this conditional use. He said it would be difficult to work during those hours as he works on this after working elsewhere during the day. After much discussion, a motion was brought forth to allow operation until 11 p.m. The motion was made by Jenke and seconded by Wentworth. Motion passed with 1 opposed, which is Strebe. So that was their plan commission. Then it went to town board directly after that. And she, when they did the meeting minutes for the town, they kind of summarized this because she didn't know if the plan commission was going to get their meeting minutes to us in time. The county had returned the conditional use for Warren Worth to us as there were issues with the privacy screening that needed to be addressed. They wanted the town's plan commission and town board to review the recommended what was recommended and to clarify the fencing. Worth was to come to an agreement in writing with a property owner to the north, Mark A. Schulke, regarding the height of the privacy screening and the material to be used for the privacy fencing, and to provide a copy of said agreement to the town, which he did. Though notes that were taken from their plan commission meeting, they reviewed the agreement that Worth provided. After the plan commission's decision, it was agreed upon by Worth and the plan commission that Worth will use the black plastic vinyl material for the privacy fencing, similar to the tarp fabric, to attach to the chain link fencing. This material will cover the 340 feet of fencing, 8 foot high, facing the north, which is Schulke's property, and roughly the 170, which is actually 125 of the Heimbrook property along the west. This part of the project will need to be completed within 6 months, September 6th, if not sooner. Worth's plan is for the section of the fencing facing west along Church Street, and also the driveway by the ditch by the southwest corner will have the retaining concrete wall block material at the bottom, approximately 4 feet high, with the plastic vinyl wood looking material on top for the combined height of 8 feet. On the east side of the property facing the Wentworth property, there will be a row of arborvitae, which is they've got cedar trees listed, planted instead inside the fencing to have a more natural fence. Originally, it was agreed upon that Worth would plant 2 staggered rows of trees. However, it was changed to 1 row of cedar. Second phase of the project must be completed within 1 year, which they've got March 6th listed. The property line facing the south, which is Aaron's property, may be left open. If there is any damaged area of the fencing, it must be repaired within 1 month. Worth also complained about the times of operation. He said he spoke to someone at the county and they couldn't believe there was an end time of 7 p.m. Worth said he called around and found that some had end times of 10 and 11 p.m. He mentioned Iola and Wapaka. He requested and got the plan commission to agree to extend hours of operation to 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., except on days of church holidays. Then it must remain 7 p.m. Strebe thought we should not be altering the times as the times listed were previously agreed upon by both parties, and this was not listed on the agenda. Olson said the agenda for the plan commission meeting did not specifically state fencing material only. It stated discuss and possible recommendation of Warren C. Worth conditional use permit. She felt that should the board want to review the recommend, they could do so. She also stated that if they were not allowed to do so, she was sure that the county would let them know. Motion by Plan Commission member Walter Strebe and seconded by Steve Bauer to approve the recommend the conditions to the town board. So that was kind of her summary from their Plan Commission. Then she's got notes from the town board meeting. At the time this item came up at the town board agenda, everyone was also present at the Plan Commission and heard the discussion. It was felt that they did not have to discuss it any further. Motion by Strebe, second by Wentworth to approve the recommendations of the Plan Commission. Motion carried. And then they got us to copy as they requested. Yesterday we got from Town Chair Gary Shane. He sent us an email because he couldn't attend in person today. I'm not able to attend the meeting in person due to his health issues. He talks about the conditional use being issued. There was a list of conditions on the permit. Completion dates for the perimeter fence by Warren have not been met and new dates have been given twice. I support the new date for the completion of the privacy fence to be September 6th. Warren got an agreement from Mark and Darlene Schulke on the type and height of the privacy material to be used for the fence along the west and north side of the property. Warren was given a date of March 6th for the completion of the fence along Church Street. Warren also requested a change of allowable work hours where he could work until 11 p.m. on weeknights. The CUP allowed working until 9 p.m. during daylight savings time. Warren stated that farmers are allowed to work at night and he wanted the same. Farming operations are very dependent on the weather and they need those hours. He also stated the taverns can also be open later than 7 p.m. They are existing businesses and are governed by the state. One supervisor, Walter Strebe, and the chair of the Plan Commission, Jerry Henschel, and myself do not want the hours extended to 11 p.m. Warren agreed to the conditions listed on the original CUP. Those conditions relating to the work hours should be upheld at this time. That was from Gary Shane, the town chair.
Okay, well, Dave. Got a lot of work involved in this one.
Yes. So obviously we have gotten the agreement, which I think Becky is going to read in as kind of our correspondence. And we were perfectly fine with what they had decided as far as that agreement. It was made between both property owners. I've talked to Schulke's and Worth after that agreement was signed to make sure that that's what was desired by both parties, and it is. So I think, and the changes that they've made with the trees and the fencing on the south side and even on Church Street, we're not in opposition to that as long as the town was okay with everything as well.
No, it sounds like the town and the neighbors have got this ironed out. So yeah, okay, thank you. I'll call for testimony. Any further testimony in favor of this application? Aye. Just raise your right hand, Warren. You swear testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. You know the drill. Stay your name and address and tell us where we're at.
Warren C. Worth, E64, 26 State Road, 22 Bear Creek, Wisconsin. First off, I want to just say a couple things before I forget them. Next to the ditch, that'll have the privacy screen, not the block. You guys said that the block would have it on the ditch side. Second of all, I didn't say the farmers, I said Mike Janke said that the farmers can work till. I never said that.
Okay.
We agreed with Schulke's to the 8 foot and they want it on the ground or right tight to the ground. Problem is the privacy screen comes in 7'9". I mean, we're getting, down to the nitty gritty. So, I mean, what do you guys suggest about that?
My opinion, the ground is probably not perfectly level. You're not, it's,
Oh, they threw a fit about the 5 foot that I put it in the center, that why was it? What was I trying to prove, or, you know?
well,
Well,
Talking about 3 inches.
yeah,
of-
that we're talking.
I know, but
a
it's
3 inches and
getting
a
to
couple
that. I
feet,
mean,
So,
you
Well,
know,
and I was just clarifying.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, in terms of our inspections on this side,
no,
but hit the 8 feet on the top.
I just, so we're all clear, you
Yeah.
know, because it's getting to that, you know, that's why I asked Marcy what kind of trees she wanted and how big, you know, I mean, I gotta know what, you know, what to buy, you know, and put in, you know, I mean,
Mhm.
cause I asked her right on during that meeting, how big? Well, I don't know. Well, I need to know because otherwise I put them in and they ain't big enough, or, you know, I mean, we're getting to that point that,
It benefits everybody to be clear about what.
yeah,
what the
just so it,
expectations are.
you don't come with
that's
tape
understood.
measure and say it's, you know, it just don't come, I mean, like a
Yeah.
2x4 ain't a 2x4 anymore.
Yep, and like our chairman was saying, you're gonna have some undulations as you go. through.
And then there was a big discussion afterwards about who said that you know, can't believe that they never said that about the hours. What's said he works out in the garden. That's all I said to them. I didn't say that the supervisor, any of you two said that. I said this discussion was that I can't believe they didn't give you, so you could run 2 shifts. That's what I said to him. But I mean, Shane, I mean, it got thrown in, you know, that making up things. And I said, it's all should be on the tape.
so what you're saying is when you're referring to, you talked to somebody at the county?
I said during the county meeting that he said he worked out in the garden till.
Okay. I mean, obviously working out in the garden and.
I know, but I mean,
operating
that was
businesses
brought
or
up,
something.
you know, I didn't say either one of you, because Sharon Olson texted me, who did. And that, you know, I didn't know his name right off, but I said I can point him out in the lineup, you know.
I don't think we're so concerned with the minutia here. It's the principle in the practical application, and I think all parties have made really good headway on this from what the report that we heard from staff. As far as planting the trees, seedlings was what the word I heard.
But it was open before that. She says, plant some trees. I said, well, what kind of
Yep,
trees? I
mhm.
mean, you know, I
That,
mean,
that got, the word seedlings is what I heard. So
That's what-
seedlings is typically 6 to 12 inches, so.
It'll take some
that's,
time for that
yeah.
to grow in, but yeah.
And they're gonna be
I
on.
mean, if
the-
I get a better deal on, you know, some come along that are bigger, I'll put bigger ones. And, you know, I needed to know exact, you know, in the privacy screen that the piece that's up, they had, what does it look like? Well, I said, I ain't gonna cut a piece off and bring it into you, you know, off my, you know, not being a smart, you know, but I mean,
So just to confirm, but before we move on to that, so when we're talking about that, you are intending on putting in seedlings,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
there's no two ways about it. So
Yeah.
you're looking at putting in plants that are gonna be only about that far off. the ground.
yeah, but they're gonna be,
And the committee, the town of Union was agreeable to that. Like they
Yeah.
understood that these are
Yeah.
only gonna be 6 to 10
Yeah.
inches.
yeah, we all, cause I put her right on the spot, you know,
Okay.
she's
That's
on the
going
planning.
back of the-
on-
back of the property.
Yeah, she wanted 2 rows at first. I said, well, my septic, my drain field goes out there, so I says, 2 rows, I said, you know.
Yeah.
Put 2 row, you know, then it'd be in my drain field. So that's what she,
So it sounds like in terms of the screening is concerned, everybody's agreeable to what we have going on. You understand what the expectations are for everything
Yeah.
for that. Okay. So the part that's kind of still in limbo would be the time and whether that gets extended or not. It sounded like the plan commission was in favor of that, but
only the one. Ultra Stream's the only one that, and they said after the meetings that Gary Shane and Geraldine Henschel, well, she agreed upon, she was one of the in favors of it. But then she must have changed her mind. But I mean,
It depends if it was recorded in favor on the minutes of the meeting, that's what we go by.
yeah, because, yeah, she read it off that it was.
Yep.
only
So
one.
that's what we got to go.
You know,
by.
I didn't mean to put any of you on the spot. I says, I'm probably, to get off the road, I'm gonna have to have a day job. I mean, to do this on the side, so I make some money. And the church thing, the seven thing, I thought it was that I couldn't work during church. I could work before and after. That's not the case, or,
I don't think that's what was discussed.
No, that was never,
huh?
I think it was stopped before church.
Yes,
That's what the condition was.
yep, that was that was what was agreed upon by everybody.
So,
So I think where Gary was coming from with his email over to us is that, you haven't really started operation yet. So I think everybody's
Right.
a little concerned,
yeah,
if they say you go to 11, it's harder to come in and say, hey, this is causing a problem. Let's cut you back to 7. As opposed to let's show that you can do work that's not impacting anybody. And then after you show that, then extend the hours. I think that's where Gary's coming from on that.
well,
It's really hard to turn it back as opposed to open it back up again.
And that's the way we typically operate when it comes to basically any new business. We're not gonna increase the hours of operation for a business that hasn't even started yet, because we don't really understand the impact to the area. So we've already had the hours of operation that's been agreed upon by you, by the town, the neighbors, this committee. And so by increasing those hours of operation without even having an understanding of what this business is going to be in the community is not something that we really ever do. So the way we typically would handle it would be we would keep it at the same hours of operation to what was already agreed upon. And then we give you a 1-year review. Once you've been in operation for a year, because now we have an understanding, we would then be able to hear from the neighbors, hear from the town, hear from the church. Was there any issues? Before we start adding or, giving more hours, we want to make sure there was not any issues. Similar to what Jason's saying, because it is really hard if we give it to you now, and then if we take it away, because we don't want to run into, issues with it.
It's not to say that you're not gonna do a bang up job. You're gonna do that.
I totally understand. I'm just trying to get as much as I can.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much to know how to tool.
But we're not faulting you for trying to get more, but what we're saying is that when it comes to the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
I understand your side.
Planning and zoning is.
I'm trying to figure out how to tool up where to spend my money, what I'm gonna be doing, cause.
And I don't think we'd close the door on that. And
Yeah.
we're only talking about what our recommendation is for it.
Don't-
That doesn't mean that you wouldn't have the opportunity to show that you're not gonna be impactful.
And I appreciate that you guys have moved it to 9. During the summer, I just don't understand what, in the winter time when everybody's got their windows shut. And if noise was a problem, they wouldn't have moved the snowmobile trail to them. That really irked me that church was a big problem with the zoning. But then they moved the snowmobile trail and they don't shut the snowmobile trail down there in church. And the snowmobile trails, if you look on for noise,
But it'd be hard to really, because we're really talking about 2 different issues, right? Snowmobile trails and what you're in your business and what you're doing, it really wouldn't make sense to really compare them to.
yeah, it would because you.
Well, but
you-
snowmobile trails are
Listen,
snowmobile trails.
listen, Let me talk. When you look on for decibels, snowmobile trail is right up, or snowmobiles are right up there. It goes outdoor concert, then it goes like decibels for sandblasting, snowmobiles, chainsaws, lawnmowers.
I guess what I'm saying is that snowmobile trails are handled and regulated entirely separate. So
Yeah,
we were
I
conditionally.
understand that,
And
but I
so
mean,
trying to equate the two.
my point is the guy that's throwing the fit about it, the town chairman. Told him to move the snowmobile trail to him when he's telling me that noise is a big issue. Well, if noise is a big issue, you don't move the snowmobile trail 100 feet outside the windows. I mean, that's like a slap in the face to me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna offer any explanation on their decision one way or another. We're just working with
Yep,
what
yep.
we have under our umbrella.
Right, I think 9 o'clock, even in the winter, I mean. Should be just as good because you got your windows shut.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys don't want to give me. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You're to scale up,
Mhm,
but I mean, the winter is when everybody's got their stuff shut,
Sure.
versus the summer when everybody's windows are open if they ain't got air conditioning.
Once we have an understanding of the business, like once the business is in operation and we know that a business can operate without bothering the neighbors, then we have evidence, then we have something that we can say, we can hear from the town that any unintended consequences hasn't actually happened. So now we can move forward with additional.
When we talk about the decibels for snowmobiles and stuff like that, what we don't know is where you're gonna be at with it
Yeah.
until you're actually.
I understand
operating. So I get where you're coming
Yeah.
from too, I do. I don't wanna,
Yeah.
you to think.
Yeah,
that-
we're not trying to.
I just.
We're not trying to make your operation, we're not trying to hamstring your operation, but you please understand
Yeah,
also that,
I understand where you guys are coming
we have a
from.
lot of these reviews we've had already, and every time we have a review, you're asking for more and more before we even really started.
Well, I
the
mean, I
actual
didn't, and on the flip side of this, usually everybody gets in trouble and then they ask for forgiveness. I'm over here and I didn't really know what I was.
Yeah, no, I
Oh,
mean,
no, I'm just being real. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just trying to see what I'm gonna spend my money on. For what business to go forward, I just think that. I mean, it wasn't a big deal when I said yes, 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 and it's my own fault for saying yes, yes, yes. But you start working out there and 7 o'clock comes along, it's like, holy moly. I mean, there's plenty of time to work yet.
Well, I'm just glad you got something worked out with the fencing and the visual barriers and that it's agreeable that you can have the 8-foot visual barrier and not have to go to 10. I think your fence will have a lot
7'9".
longer life.
7'9", yes.
Yeah,
Well,
7
just
foot
we're all,
9, right?
I mean, there's
Effective.
a lot of money, I don't know what I'm gonna, what I'd fill it in with 3 inches, Or,
Sure.
but I mean, and Joyce would have been here, again, she's made her case clear that she don't want no fence. She's in the hospital, otherwise she'd be here.
Yeah.
She don't want no fence.
Well, we hear you and I think this has made a lot of progress. And I don't think we've got any other questions at this point. So thank you for your input and I'm gonna call for more testimony. So any further testimony in favor of this application?
I got one more thing that, for the noise and stuff like that, Shane has never asked the preacher, my mom she could ask the preacher, what about noise? And he said, I never said nothing, or they never come to me or nothing. Shane ain't even doing his diligence by talking to the guy that's preaching.
Well, we can't get into hearsay or any of that kind of stuff right here. And it may be.
It
very-
ain't
it
hearsay,
may-
she'll testify
it may
that,
be Very true, but we aren't here to listen to.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
just, when you feel like you're signaled out because about the noise, and then they move the snowmobile trail 100 feet outside the windows.
Yeah.
And that was,
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
all right.
Any further testimony in favor of this application? Any further testimony in favor of this application? Third call, any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Third call, any testimony in opposition? Any testimony? Are there any letters?
Yes, I have the agreement that is signed by Mark Schulke, Warren Worth, and Darlene Schulke, dated February 6th, 2023. It's noted on here that it was dropped off at the town hall by Warren Worth just before the start of the meeting at 6 p.m. on February 6th. And the agreement states this letter is to inform you on what we would find acceptable for the fence that Warren Worth is putting up. We would like an 8-foot privacy screen starting from the ground up, starting at the road, Church Street, from the Heimbrock property all the way to the shed in back of the Schulke property. We would also like to note that the fence needs to be maintained if something breaks or falls apart. We feel 1 month would be a sufficient enough amount of time to get the fence fixed. All parties involved will sign below if the terms are agreed upon. And again, it is signed by Mark Schulke, Darlene Schulke, and Warren Worth.
Thank you. Does Planning and Zoning Office have a recommendation?
We do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The screening plan, as the township had approved it, we would be in favor of that being the new screening plan for it. And we do have some apprehension in terms of extending the hours until we actually see the operation going. So our recommendation would be accept the screening plan at this time and let's wait for a year, let him get his little under his belt to see where we're at with those extended hours.
Is there any other questions from the committee?
Just a comment. I think there was a date certain when this is supposed to be done by.
Yes.
Yeah, yep, they had the black harp screening. I think we gave them 6 months and the rest of it would be within the year.
Okay,
So we can do an administrative review in the 6 months. That hopefully will be fairly easy to accomplish. And then look to next year to see about the rest of it. If he gets the rest of it done within before that, we can definitely do another administrative review just to get him so he can start operations as soon as all the conditions are met.
Yep.
So.
Be real curious to find out what this whole thing costs. Time you got the trees in, by the time you got the fencing up, by the time you got the harps on. I'd be really with the big spend blocks. I'm just curious to what this mess cost. Just so you.
okay. So we need a motion to approve this review of this conditional use permit.
Also,
Thank you. Is there a second?
second.
Moved by Supervisor Fedorowicz, seconded by Supervisor McClone to approve the review of this conditional reviews use permit. Roll call vote, Wilfer,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes,
McClone.
Yes.
Fedorowicz.
Yes.
Nygaard, yes, motion carries. Is there a motion to close the hearing?
motion to close.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Hardy, seconded by Supervisor Wilfer to close the hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. So got a couple bullet points. Yeah. At least,
Yeah,
thank
take
you, you
care.
too. Can see the sun shining out there.
Supposed to be out all day.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Not warming up, but out there.
it's got sun's out.
Yeah. Okay. So Joe. This is, I'll push from the town. There's some history.
I'm, shouldn't laugh when I say this. Fred is not the healthiest guy in the world. And last week I had to get out of here and do it and get him to a special appointment. So we go out of town near his house on D and then we jump over into 45. We're driving down 45. There's a big junkyard of cars out there with just a cyclone dog pen fence around it.
Yeah.
My God, Fred, we require a lot more than that. He says, well, that's not Wapaka County. That's out of Gambling County. And that's
Right.
day and night difference.
Yeah.
You could see everything.
Mhm.
It was fenced in, so you and I couldn't go in and steal stuff,
Sure.
basically what it was.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's-
Yeah.
I didn't realize out of Gambling was one side there and back was the other,
Another line there.
45.
Yeah. Take a deep breath.
You.
Good job on the names, by the way. If you,
Couple doozies today.
the standard ones, yeah.
So we on the, after the?
Yeah, we're on the
Yeah,
James
next- yeah,
Judge.
Next bullet point there.
Did you give them an update?
I have not, no, we had a little discussion. So, yeah, we had an after the fact refund request. It's in property actually in the town of DuPont. So they went through and late last fall, they had a switch over with their town zoning person there because they do have their own zoning. It was for a carport. The new town guy issued him his carport permit. The guy thought he was good to go, so we put the carport up. At the end of the year, we get all their notifications of permits that we issue, so we can double check and cross-reference ours. They didn't have a county permit from us, and they are within 300 feet of a river, so they do have to have a shoreline permit. So we got him all permitted now. He's paid the $600 after the fact fee, so now he's requesting that $300 after the fact to be waived. And more or less just because the town guy was new enough that he wasn't aware that he needed to forward him on to us. Otherwise, I think he would have had no issue with doing that. So,
This may have been a growing pain situation.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was a
we've-
new
we've
individual.
had a lot of contact with the town of DuPont, with Matt Westfall now. He's done a really good job so far with what he's had to pick up and try to run with. But yeah, there are some growing pains in the meantime, just because there's so many different and he's got his own ordinance he's got to enforce, but then there's also our stuff that adds the extra layer of things to it, so.
So he's still, the township guy, still learning
Yeah.
how we interface with things.
So it wasn't the homeowner's fault at all.
No, I wouldn't think that, I think, like I said, if he was told by Matt that, hey, you should contact the county, he probably would have, but there was that disconnect there, unfortunately. We're gonna try to work with the town a little bit more closely on, instead of every year, at the end of the year, getting all of their permits, try to do it on a monthly or quarterly basis so that we can avoid hopefully some of these issues.
We have, we also, there's a new person for the town of Harrison that's coming on there that we've been talking with him quite a bit for. Dick Iberger was in at the counter.
Yep.
He's with the town of Fremont. So these townships that are under their own zoning, we're trying very hard to make sure that we're all communicating well with things. So This case, it didn't happen all that well.
No, but yeah, once he got my letter, as far as knowing that he needed to get a county permit, he was prompt with getting that submitted and contacting me ahead of time, so. It wasn't like it drug out for a long time.
So.
It's an odd one.
It is an odd
It
one.
is, you know,
Advised he could take the carport down and then apply for the permit. Or apply for after the fact.
Yeah.
we were trying to save.
Yeah, we're trying to save him some money.
Me, yeah, especially on these easy carport ones where they're just these canvas.
They're not a big deal to take apart. and put
No,
on.
we always give folks that option.
So. Did he do that or?
No,
just-
no, he just applied for the permit and it's not his primary residence, it's a
Sure.
cabin. So,
And more often than not, we're looking at applying these after the fact fees, but this one seems as though there's a little more to the story than what we usually have.
Well, I think it's important to hear this.
Oh,
make
yeah,
a
yeah.
decision then.
Yeah, I could see it go both ways on this one, but if it's a very simple structure and in an hour's time, he could take it down and. Start over,
He may be hired it to be built, and maybe he's not capable of taking it down. I don't
Maybe
find a
not.
ladder anymore.
no, right? This is a canvas carport,
I do believe so, yeah. That's a 10 by 20, I think it's.
permits, by the time he's done or cost as much as the
Well, that's-
carport.
That's the unfortunate part, yeah, it's.
Ah,
I'll make a motion. We return half. Problem.
there's a motion on the floor to give him the refund that he's requesting, the doubled portion of the fee. Is there a second?
Can it be put on there, the reason why?
Sure.
You know, that way, just if it comes up again, someone says, hey, you know, this happened to this gentleman, why can't I have it?
Sure.
And because it occurred because of the,
Yeah, the disconnect with. the
Right.
town,
And I would,
guess, more
and I would say that if we can put in there too, that it's in this kind of weird flex time when he was just taking over.
right,
Because I mean, if it happens again.
right,
you know,
Right.
is not, yeah, but you can't.
It wouldn't be
do
the
it
same
again.
time period, and Matt is, yeah, he's been working with us to try to get. up to
Yeah.
speed.
Okay, all right.
No, Matt's been trying to do a good job out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, no, and I think the communication with him has been very good
Okay,
so
good.
far. So I would say that we were cautiously optimistic that this is just a one-off.
Okay.
Fluke.
Yeah,
It was a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Second that one.
okay, so motion to grant the request for the $300 refund with conditions stated to explain the pertinent circumstances.
Perfect.
In detail.
Yep.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote. Nygaard, yes. McClone.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes,
Milford. Betterwitz, yes, motion carries. So that's just a request, so.
Thank you.
That's the end of that one then. But all pertinent conditions explained, so that when this will probably come up again sometime, that this can be explained. And that we aren't getting in an argument with somebody who's obviously in the wrong.
Just trying to build.
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Makes sense.
Okay, April 11th. 10:30. Is that the posted time already, or is it already,
I don't think we're posted.
I don't know, that's been posted, but
what's the reading?
Meeting, is there a meeting in front of us?
I don't know.
That's a Tuesday, I imagine.
You want us to try to move the time? if
I'm
it's
just
possible?
wondering, what's the consensus?
well, law enforcement went until
Okay.
20 after.
yeah, that's why we've been doing it that.
It was a longer
Yeah,
Wednesday.
that makes sense to leave it at that.
Yep, okay. April 11th at 10:30.
You won't be planning for them.
No.
I may be fishing.
You might.
That'll fall.
In a boat.
Well, maybe you've already been out in the morning for a while and coming back.
I
for-
dug my boat out Friday before all this snow.
Oh.
It's home in the garage, so I couldn't get at it.
Why has it been
Yes,
running?
I thought I had.
You got your boat out, Justin's gonna go off. Thanks, fish. This is big.
Good friend over in Sand Lake and so there's something doing. Doing good.
They have those eel pouch over there. Have you ever fished for them?
I caught an eel pouch up in Lake of the Woods and it's supposed to be the greatest thing ever to eat. And we did everything and cooked it in Mountain Dew and it was garbage.
The best part was the Mountain Dew.
Well, that's what we were told.
I just, I saw, my nephew was telling, I saw a video, of some guy pulling that thing up through the ice and he gets a hold of it and the thing wraps around his arm just like that. It's like,
Like a
oh,
snake.
yuck.
Was it like an eel or what?
It's an odd looking fish. Yeah, it's
It's a $30 fish. It was the biggest fish caught those 3 days. And so I got $5 out of each of the boys.
Oh my God.
I'll stick with my perch.
yeah. Is there any, well, there isn't anything else on the agenda, so I guess the next thing is to adjourn.